That tone, I could play that all day. Hi, I'm Alexis, welcome to Alexis Guitars. This is the Harley Benton Dealbreaker. It's a clone of a Bluesbreaker circuit that's a lot of fun to play, and I bought it full price for less than 20 euros. A whole load of these new Harley Benton pedals, which came out at the end of last year, seem to have sold out fairly quickly. And at the time of filming this video, it looks like the Dealbreaker is no longer available from Harley Benton. But if you open the pedal up, you can have a look at the name of the circuit, which is available from other brands. Let's take a closer look at the pedal itself. It's got 3 knobs, volume, tone, and gain, and it's got this mini switch here to select between a normal and a bright mode. Now, one thing I have to criticize is that the dark red writing on a black background was just not a good idea. It's so hard to read unless the room is really well lit. Not the biggest deal, because with 3 knobs you're hardly going to forget what they do, but when you couple that with the fact that these mini knobs didn't have any visual markers on them, or any obvious visual markers to help identify your settings, I actually had to paint these on myself. That just adds up to a pedal that's got some pretty big design flaws. In terms of the overall construction, the metal chassis feels solid, and the on-off switch on all of these Harley Benton pedals, or at least the ones I've tried, are okay. They seem a little bit on the cheaper end, but as long as you're not slamming it down, it should be okay. But of course, it's the sound that's important from this pedal, and I can tell you from now, I really like the tones I can get from this. The gain knob does need to be set at about noon for it to do anything worthwhile, in my opinion at least. You'll hear it for yourselves in a moment. But from 12 o'clock, it ranges from the slightest bit of grit just to add life and depth to your clean tone, and when you crank it, it's this really nice bluesy overdrive. If you enjoy this video, please do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button and drop me a comment below letting me know your thoughts on the Dealbreaker. Also, if you're new here and like this kind of content, please do consider subscribing and clicking the bell. I'm going to be using my recently transformed T-type parts caster. Check out the video on the transformation process this thing went through. And this is going into the orange Terra stamp on a clean-ish setting, going into the 2 notes cab M, simulating an orange 2x12 cab with vintage 30s and no post EQ. Onto the sound test now. Make sure you stick around to hear the gain knob cranked past 12, because that's where the pedal really comes alive. Take a listen. Some of the tones you can get from this pedal are so much fun to play. It just inspires me to play these bluesy, Hendrixy, Robin Trower inspired riffs and licks all day long. I think it's awesome. But let me know in the comments below what you think. Having the gain up set to about noon is like a clean tone enhancer. It adds that little bit of extra juice, a bit of extra grit, pretty subtle for a 12 o'clock setting, but still effective. I really like it with the gain up set to about 3 o'clock. There you get this juicy overdriven tone which retains a lot of clarity and just adds a ton of character to your tone. Also at that setting you can use the guitar's volume knob to roll it back and clean up a little bit. There are some things about the Dealbreaker which I think can be improved, but this is my first time using a Bluesbreaker style pedal, so some of these things might just be inherent to a Bluesbreaker circuit. So the first thing, which I've already mentioned in a video, is that the gain knob really doesn't do much until you hit about noon. You also can't really use this as a clean boost because when the gain is set to 0, the volume at max is still fairly quiet. It does have a significant volume boost when you crank the gain a little bit. The other thing which I'm not really impressed by, and actually the bigger thing, is that this mini switch here doesn't seem to do that much. There is a slight difference when you switch from normal to bright, but it's nothing that can't be achieved from just adjusting the volume and the tone knob a little bit. I think this pedal would have been more interesting if rather than a normal bright mode, this was a normal and more gain setting. That would have made this a little bit more versatile and a bit more fun for me. For me, the Dealbreaker is a great introduction to these Bluesbreaker style pedals, and I definitely want to try some higher end ones, assuming I can afford it, of course. But until then, this feels really nicely, and I don't have any urge to upgrade this other than being a guitar addict, of course. If you're interested in more of these affordable Harley Benton pedals, make sure you check out my other reviews and demos I've done, especially the Plexicon, which is my favorite one. That's all from us for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. Till next time. You want to be in my YouTube videos? Yeah?